Hey, that's pretty cool. Here we are in Premiere Pro, and right now this is basically my file structure within Premiere for organizing, media timelines for Premiere. So let's go through what these are, and then we'll go through and build each of these components. So first, going back, is just one folder. And then I split into two folders of media and timelines. So we'll start with media. And in there I have audio, so for like audio and music. And then I have, for myself, is the my outro with the like, share, and comment. So that's there. And then photos for any photos I want to add to a video or show that I have with the with that video topic. And I split it into two components just like I did for video. So it's the DSLR and then there's the phone. Same thing for video. And it just helps me stay organized on what comes from what, because sometimes the phone gives me images that are different from the camera, and the video settings could be different on my phone that day, and I didn't put in the proper settings to make it match with the camera one for one. So it just helps me organize what's what, because they're similar file structures between the two. It's like a similar naming structure. So going back, timelines, I have 5 timelines, sequences that I've made just as like bases for any video I may have. I don't really use 4K that much anymore like I used to, but just in case, I leave my phone settings in 4K mode, and so I have that ready to go. And then primarily with the camera, I have two settings that I primarily use: 1080p at 24 frames per second, and then 1080p 30 frames per second, both in the original, along with 4K in the 16:9, typically what we see on most screens. If you turn your phone sideways, a TV, pretty much anything else. And then I have portrait, so like 9:16, typically phones in a vertical manner. And that's if I make any vertical stories, or I want to add on Instagram stories to the end of a video, or something like that, or just export an Instagram TV video for something. And then I have square just for Twitter and Facebook if I want to just upload it in a more simplified manner, because I think for both of those, Twitter and Facebook, it just works better for some reason. I don't know why 16:9 doesn't work on Facebook as well, but who cares? So that's that. And so let's get into building this template. So first things first, you can either right click for new bin, or you come down here to it says new bin right next to the sticky note. So right there, I just made a bin within a bin. I don't want that, or actually I could use that. So I'm just gonna rename this bin that's within the first bin, binception, and I'm gonna call this media. And then I can Control C, Control V. Oh, actually I don't want that. So backspace, or not backspace, Control Z. I'll close that folder and I'll just right click again, add another bin, name this timelines. And I'll just drag it within the bin that I just made. Let me get rid of this first one so I don't confuse myself. Alright, now I can rename pretty much the overarching bin as like 01, or you just regular project folder. I'll just name it project. And then within that we have a media and timeline folders. So first let's work with the media folder and building that structure out. So right click again, new bin. We're gonna call this video, and then make another bin, call this audio. one more for photos, and that's about it. And then within the video folder, you can make another bin again. It's like a bin within a bin within a bin within a bin within a bin. Call this either, well, you can have like several different cameras. I've seen people with file structures that have GoPros, 360 cameras, phones, drones, cameras, all that. But for me, it's just phone and camera. So name this one camera. Open another one, call this DSLR. And I'm just gonna control both of these, like press the control key and click both of these and drag them within the video folder. So they're organized there. If I can also copy these two again and put them within the photo folder. There it is. Simple, easy. You can also color code these. So if I wanted to color code media, photos versus video, I can right click on photos, go to label, it's at the bottom, and it has several different colors. I usually use blue or orange. It's easier on the eyes, but they have different colors. I just use teal for this. Close that folder, and then right click on video, label. Now change it to cerulean. It looks like it's basically a sky blue. And then change timelines to a green. So there you go. Different files, structure for each component that comes into the project. And now let's go build some sequences. So click on timelines. Timeline sequences, the same thing. It's whatever you want to call it. Come down here to this, right click or come down to the sticky note and click on sequence. Now this menu gives you multiple camera formats, but primarily even with your phone, you can just choose DSLR 1080p. And that works for both phones, cameras that I know of, that I've always used for like the past 2 years. So I'm gonna make this DSLR 1080p 30 frames per second, and I'm gonna go up to settings and make sure everything's good. And then I can rename this sequence, or I can call it 1080p. I don't know what it is. Hit enter. You see it says frame size 1920 by 1080p, and it tells you the aspect ratio, so that's a good thing. So if I just change this one to 3840, I think that's 4K. So it gives me 32 by 9, and I don't want that. But if I change horizontal to 2160, it gives me 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and that will be 4K. So I can change the sequence name, but I'll go back to 1080p. Hit OK. There you go. First timeline. It built itself in the next panel to your right, and that's it. Now I'll show you how to make a portrait sequence. So new item, sequence, same thing, DSLR 30 frames per second, 1080p, settings. You're just reversing these numbers. So 1080 goes in the horizontal, 1920 goes in the vertical, and it'll give you 9 by 16. Typically what you see when you hold your phone in the normal way. Now just name this portrait. And there we have it. 2 sequences that we can use, play with, and that's about it. I'll just show you. So I typically work out of the effects workspace rather than assembly. Assembly is just there to organize stuff, but I'm used to working out of effects because I can manipulate different effects controls from here, add text, and I have to get into color grading at some point, but not now. But yeah, it's the most efficient way I can work